What's up, good people? I'm your guy, Aubrey Dunbar, and welcome back to SC Power Moves. 2024 has been a great one. Lots to celebrate and lots to talk about. For me personally, I saw a lot of growth during this year. I experimented a lot and also gained some experience from those losses and from the wins also. And with that said, let's get into the channel, SC Power Moves. I started SC Power Moves back in February 2024, and it was out of necessity. So this actual channel and this actual show, this YouTube show, I don't call it a podcast. This is an actual show. This show is about maybe 4 years late, if not 8 years late, maybe 8 years late. For those of you that don't know, I am a esports podcast host also. My first podcast, my first YouTube show was called The COD Show Podcast. And I interviewed other Call of Duty content creators that were on YouTube and also Twitch. So always knew that I wanted to start a podcast about business. I always knew that because a lot of my friends and family, they own their own businesses. They were super successful, and I wanted to take advantage of those connections and create content around that. But I got so caught up in the esports and Call of Duty hype. I had tunnel vision. So this is a channel recap, right? So let's start out with January. Coming into the 2024 year from November going into January, I started reading a book that suggested that I write down my goals, all of my goals that I wanted to accomplish in 2024. And I would wake up at 5 o'clock a.m. every morning and write my goals out. Just write out my goals, right? And it required you to write your goals 30 times. So I would have literally sheets and sheets, stacks and stacks of papers. I threw them away not too long ago because I got kind of pissed that I was doing that. But anyway, the book suggested that I do that every morning. So that's what I started doing. My goals were to monetize my channel, my esports channel, which is called MVP's Game Changers Podcast, where we interview content creators, individuals that's in the esports space. That was one. And then another channel was Video Nasty's TV. That was my sports channel. And that was doing the best at the time. I covered Cowboys content and other types of sports content and other just random content, not random, but other interests that I was looking to make content on. So those were my goals, to monetize those two YouTube channels. Now, let's fast forward to January. That's what my mindset was, and I was continuously cranking out content revolving around that. Something changed in February. I really took another turn. I realized that I needed to make money. I needed to figure out what kind of skills that I could monetize, turn into a service. So what that led to was me trying to figure out how I can create my first e-product or digital product. My first digital product was a book on how to become a content creator. That turned from an ebook to a course. So I started working on a course. I started going heavy at that. And what that led to was I have multiple skills, so what am I gonna do? So I stopped working with the course and I started to say, hey man, let's pivot. For whatever reason, let's pivot into the SC Power Moves podcast. Let's stop. So in February, I created the channel trailer, and let's switch gears to another camera. So I created the channel trailer, and I also started to play around with the ideas of the formatting. What would the channel look like? Because at the time, I wasn't really watching a lot of esports content. I wasn't watching a lot of Twitch streamers. I wasn't watching a lot of, tournaments as I used to, because the Call of Duty scene got a little weird and watered down. I wasn't playing the game as much as I used to, even though I played a lot still, but it was just so many cheaters. It was just the gaming experience wasn't as fun. So anyway, fast forward to February 2024, I just feel like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish that's going to make me feel good, that's going to make me feel like I'm making a difference in the community? And that was, I'm just going to start my business podcast. So that's what happened. I still thought that it would be impactful. I was thinking about legacy at the time. I was thinking about, all right, what am I going to leave behind for people to remember me by, and they're going to get some value out of it. Esports content is great, but are my nephews going to look at this, or my relatives are going to look at this like, okay, I can gain something from this, I can enjoy this. This is going to make a marker in my life. And the answer was no, it's not. I wanted to create something for my hometown. I wanted to create something that people can come to and look at and like, okay, I understand this, I like this. This is giving me substance. And at the time, I was just watching a whole lot of different types of content, and it was centered around business. So I watched a lot of Jordan Welch, I watched a lot of Upflip, I watched a lot of Snoo J. That's the type of content that I was consuming. I wasn't consuming a lot of gaming content because it got a little boring, and I have to admit, childish. That's the type of content that I was consuming. I've always consumed that type of content, and that's the type of content that I wanted to create. So you are what you eat, right? So I just thought about it, all right? So I already knew my channel was gonna be called South Carolina Power Moves. I had the channel name in my mind for many, many years. So I created the channel in March. I dropped the trailer. In March, and we were off to the races. The first channel trailer was, it was put it together using some stock footage, and I traveled around to different businesses in my town and tried to get some shots, but it wasn't as clean as I wanted to because I wasn't as polished of a video creator at that time. Anyway, fast forward a little bit, I dropped the channel trailer. People liked it, got a couple hundred views. That stuck around on my channel for a while. And in March 2024, I started to practice also. I started to practice like mock interviews. I started to trying to train my cousin up on how to work the camera, because I was gonna be in front of the camera, but I knew I wanted my interviews and my show, because I don't call it a podcast, it's a YouTube show. I wanted my show to have a lot of movement. So we were practicing, we were trying to move around with our shots, trying to establish interesting angles and stuff like that. So we did a lot of practice, a couple hours of practice a week, and that was in March. Fast forward to probably like mid-March, I went ahead and shot my first episode of the show, SE Power Moves, with my Uncle Jeff, M&M Concessions. My Uncle Jeff and his partner, Leslie Kelly, they run M&M Concessions. They started it about maybe 20 years ago, so they have a lot of skin in the game, a lot of experience in the concession stand business. So I started my first episode with my uncle. Everything that I thought that episode was going to be, it exceeded it. The way it looked, the camera angles that I chose, the editing was A1. I was like, okay, we got something. People loved it. The local community enjoyed it. That's what I made it for. Even to this day, I still think that interview is the best interview I've ever done that was ever edited and ever created by me. It's just the best so far. Shout out and love to everybody else. Everybody else had their own moments also, but that first one is the baby, and I think it was phenomenal. So let's fast forward to April. Let's move on to April. April was another great month for South Carolina Power Moves. It's a local festival here. We can't even call it a local festival because it's a celebration of one of the local, my cousin, my family, the Greek Fest. The Greek Fest was something that we've came up with and has stuck in celebration of my family member that has moved on. Chino Green, the Green family, his sister and his brother, his mother, and the whole community gets together. We get together and we put on what we call the Greek Fest. And this year it was at the ball field, the local ball field in the hood, the hood area. So it was a phenomenal event. I had the chance and the grace, the opportunity. I was so lucky to get an interview with Chino Green in the ball field, in the actual DJ booth or the announcer's booth in the ball field to do a recap or a debriefing, as I called it, the actual Greek Fest. That was a phenomenal video. That was a phenomenal interview. The community loved it. For me, if I get my community to give me some likes and a few views, I think it's a W. We're not knocking videos out of the ballpark worldwide yet. So for me, my success is here in the local community, and I think that was a great success, and the reaction was awesome. Moving on, April, Ronald Patterson of Patterson Signs. Patterson Signs has been in business for 35 years. It's just, Patterson Signs when you see it. He's been all over the Southeast putting his work in as far as the sign business. All right, love it, man. Shout out to Ronald Patterson. And that was another one that I enjoyed because I got so much out of it. I learned so much. I learned to see, I saw all of his, not all of them, but I saw a huge body of work over the years, and he's still on go mode. His business is just thriving, So salute to Ronald. Learned so much, man. Thank you, Ronald. Let's go to May. In May, I had the opportunity to interview Ashley Foreman of Ashley's Own Maine. That was a great interview because I used to work for Ashley's Own Maine back when I was a senior in high school. I was at the furniture. I used to deliver furniture for this furniture store, clean up, sweep the floors, all of that stuff. Back when I was in high school, totally awesome experience. Me and Ash relationship is really, really solid. That family really held down the community. Several of my friends have worked there. Several members of the community have worked there over the years, and they're still going, they're still thriving. I really enjoyed that interview. I learned a lot. I think that 66-year history is awesome. So think about that, 66 years in the furniture business. And that also led to me, really starting off my entrepreneurial career, or sparking another business. Because I've always wanted to start to sign my own clients. I was just started my agency, my social media marketing agency, right? So it's called SEP Media. I signed my first client after SE Power Moves episode with Ashley's Own Maine. So that was the spark of something great for me personally. Also in May was a hot month. I remember traveling from Atlanta, Charleston, back to here in New Orleans, South Carolina for different types of interviews. So I went to the Gibbs Museum in Charleston, South Carolina to interview the Art of Being. The Art of Being was featured at the Gibbs Museum for an event, showed up. It was such an awesome event. Everyone truly respected his work and truly was, and everyone in attendance knew that they were looking at artwork that was like none other. Everything was one of one. The pieces that he presented at the Gibbs Museum, they were phenomenal. I was just there. I just was there. I was there. I knew that it was going to be a big opportunity for not only Art of Being, but for myself, because this type of event needed to be documented. And that was someone, the Art of Being is my family member, and that is my cousin. So I knew that he would need some type of help, and he needs documentation and content. Content is key right now, and that goes for almost every industry. Content is key. So I wanted to be there to document some of that journey at the Gibbs Museum, and we did a great job. The interview was super powerful and informative. I think a lot of people got a lot out of that, and they got to see exactly how talented of an artist he was. And also, in that same month, I had the great opportunity to sit down with Jermaine Patterson of Real Dreamers. We had a chance to sit down on the pitcher's mound of the ball field and have a discussion about Real Dreamers, his organization, where he gives back directly to the city of New Orleans and the community of New Orleans. And that was such a great interview. It was just so much given in that interview that I took home, but I took to heart. All right. So with that being said, I know who to call once I want to put something together, create an event to give back to the community, and hopefully we can have some great discussions about that in 2025. Some of the stuff that we put on the table for 2024 didn't come all the way through, but 2025 would be just as great because we've had this time to gain more knowledge, and guess what? We're gonna get to apply it, all right? So shout out to Jermaine Patterson and his organization. He does a lot. He's also an entrepreneur. He's also e-commerce entrepreneur. Salute to him, salute to you. Thank you. Can't wait to work with you in the future, man. Thank you. Let's move on to July. So July was another great month. We had the chance to catch up with a pressure washing business, or should I say soft wash business, with my guy, Austin Scott. Austin Scott is the owner and operator of Best Cleaner Near Me in Aiken, South Carolina. And I really got a chance to just learn a whole lot from him. We were at a location, we were on location at a residence where he was actively, doing his job. Those are the type of interviews that I like, okay? So if you're an entrepreneur and I pull up, I want to come to see you on location and just, really kind of shadow you and just ask you a couple questions while we're filming the interview. And we did that. It was so awesome, man. I really enjoyed it. Shout out to Austin and the Best Cleaner Near Me. He dropped enough game on that during that interview or that show that I can clip it up, make other content out of it, so shout out to him. Thank you. Let's move on to August. As you can see, we were kind of slowing down a little bit as far as like the volume of episodes, And I can tell you why in a second after we get through August. So I contacted a good friend of mine, and I forget how I'm a car show guy. I love cars. I'm not a car enthusiast all the way. I drive a pretty nice 2010 Camaro SS with a few mods on it. But for me, if I can get out to the car shows, I will, and just in passing, I did an interview with Reggie Lawrence. Reggie Lawrence, I think it was earlier in the year or maybe late last year. All right, and some type of way, I think I saw him post a flyer about his upcoming car show, or a friend of his car show. That conversation led to me saying, hey man, would you guys want to do the interview at the car show? I think it'd be dope. And I pulled up on them, and the car show was phenomenal. The topic of discussion was making money with car shows, or do car show organizers actually make money? What is the business behind car shows, and how do these guys make money? That conversation went well, great show. Shout out to Reggie, and shout out to his whole team. Shout out to Kay also. Kay was in that car. That was her event. Shout out to Kay and Reggie for that interview. I loved it, man. Thank y'all, for sure. Thank y'all. Let's move into November. So we started to slow down. So you see, I skipped a couple of months, and the reason why I skipped a couple of months because I really needed to concentrate on getting my business SEPM media off the ground. So from August to November, I really concentrated. I shut everything down. I wasn't doing any esports content. I was not doing any SE Power Moves content because I wanted to focus on the process, making sure I got more clients in the process of servicing the clients with any type of marketing that they needed, and I also started to take more courses to try to learn some AI automations and try to learn a lot more about social media marketing, because even though I'm a social media marketer for my day job, it's a lot different than providing those services, independently on my own, right? And I also, in September, I started reading this book, The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco. This book changed everything. This is a very recommended read if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to get into entrepreneurship. It's a great read and a great process. This is going to be my second time passing through this book, probably 2 more times, because for me, if a book provides value or instructions provide value, you just can't read it once, and that's just super simple. What's in that book? Super complex. So I do recommend The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco, all right? So I started reading that book. It started to lay out some jewels, and by the time November rolled around, I had already acquired 3 social media marketing clients. I've worked with several other clients that needed web development also. So shout out to that. And this one that's coming up, November. All right, so remember The Art of Being from the Gibbs Museum? He's been having a phenomenal year also. He's been knocking stuff out the park. He's been selected for several art festivals. He specifically headlined the Moja African American Arts Festival in Charleston, South Carolina. One of his pieces was selected to be the marquee piece. Behind me is a marquee piece from 2018, the Blue Barrel Ballerina, maybe 2019. Same festival, the Moja City Arts Festival. And this was big because this was the 40th anniversary of the festival. So they chose him just through conversation on a whim. Me and him were talking, and I was like, hey man, he told me about he was headlining the festival, and I was like, hey man, you need a website just in case people want to check you out and have some, a place where they can check you out and maybe even purchase some art, because I knew I can put together the website. So we had about 2.5 weeks before the festival, built him out the website. I uploaded all of his artwork, all of the pieces. I think we started out with 64 pieces within the first week of that website being up and operated. He sold his first painting for $1,200. In November, The Art of Being was putting on his first solo exposition of his artwork, and again, we collaborated again. I was full on in support mode with this festival. It was called Full Circle. Of course, we built out the content on the website, and we also uploaded more paintings, and we took it a step further. We created barcodes and QR codes to attach to those paintings during the event, so attendees could easily purchase a painting without making too much fuss or carrying cash. Scan the QR code, purchase the painting, walk out with the painting. Also, I created his merch around the Full Circle event, which went on phenomenally well. We went on to sell quite a few hoodies and t-shirts of the Full Circle event. The event itself was phenomenal. I don't think I've ever seen a show like that. I think that it was one of the best I've been to, and I've been to probably about 5 art shows during 2024, but that was phenomenal. Everyone had a great time. It was just such a magical experience, and I was glad to be there to volunteer my services to help. I would do it all over again. Can't wait to participate next year. Much success to the Art of Being and the whole team. I had the opportunity after the Full Circle show, the day after, while we were packing up everything, to actually, walk around with the Art of Being and ask them a couple questions and get some really, really, really good content. It was a great interview. We talked about the Moja Arts Festival experience leading up to the Full Circle and after the Full Circle, and what we're gonna do in 2025. So salute to the Art of Being, thank you. December, Jade and Elias. I recorded this Crown Lupus Jade and Elias episode back in July. I just held on to it because I needed to switch focus and get my business up and running, digital marketing business up and running and off the ground, and that's what I did. I pivoted. So I put this episode out right on time, closing out the year with Jade and Elias, Crown and Lupus. Crown and Lupus is a non-profit organization where, similar to Jermaine, Jade and the organization gives back to the community, the Aiken and Augusta community. They sponsor scholarships, they provide educational materials and fitness programs. I guess you can call the Lupus Walk a type of fitness event, right? So to get people up and moving. Me and her, that interview was awesome. She laid out exactly what lupus is and her experience with lupus and the benefits of partnering with the organization Crown and Lupus. I thought that was phenomenal for the community, and the information that she provided was much needed. Salute to you, Jade. Much success in the 2025. Let's go. Closing it out. I'd like to thank everyone that allowed me to sit down with them and extract the information, allow them to tell their story as candidly as possible. Salute to everyone that supported the show, that hit the like button, subscribe. Thank y'all. And in 2025, expect much more. Expect much more. We're gonna have some great content for you. We've already have one to set off 2025 in January. In the bag, it's already recorded. We just have to hit the go mode button. All right, and that is with the Art of Daniel. He's a Renaissance man. He's a skateboarder. He's a video production specialist. He's a animation specialist, character development specialist. He's just that guy. He's just a Renaissance man. He's also an artist. So salute to him. We're gonna set this year off, 2025, with the Art of Daniel. And what else? What do I want? Like, who moving forward in 2025? Who I want to work with in 2025? I do have a list. I have a list. So that list consists of Bush's BP. They've been open for, man, if I had to put a number on it, maybe 30 plus years here in New Ellis, South Carolina, servicing the community for well over 30 years. They've been here for forever. So that's another legacy business in my neighborhood that I would like to get that story out to the people. Hyman Seafood. I've been talking to the Hyman family since the Gibbs Museum when I met them in Charleston, South Carolina. So we've yet to schedule that. So Hyman Seafood is on the list. As a content creator, Ken the Realtor here in Columbia, South Carolina. I think he's one of the more visible content creators in recent years. So I can't wait to reach out to him and see if he can get something scheduled to get that story out to the masses. DJ B Lord is another one, a DJ that's been in business for years and years and years. I can't wait to speak to him and get that story out. B Lord has been such an inspiration. Like he's provided the soundtrack to several movements during my life. You know, that goes all the way back to Black Bike Week when he dropped his mixtape that had country grammar on it. That was back in 2000, the year 2000. So I got his mixtape from Deej Bridge Road from the mixtape spot. DJ B Lord, who else? Any tech company executives. I'm working with a tech company now. I'm going to reach out to those guys and see if they want to tell their story on the show. Other legacy businesses like in my area, in my backyard, Carolina Barbecue, Duke's Barbecue, all other food truck owners, pressure washing businesses, content creators, and political officers or officials. Would love to sit down and talk to you guys and get y'all's story. With that being said, I'm Aubrey Dunbar. Thank you guys for a great year of SE Power Moves. I hope you guys continue to support me and I will continue to support y'all. You know, let's go. Let's get it, man. Thank y'all. Salute. Peace.
Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share.